Okay, everybody, this is Amy Fox with Work in Progress Texas. I am live here in the Facebook group, and we are going to be talking about reverse dieting. What is it? What is it all about? Is it just as it sounds? How to go about it? What does it work? How does it do? All the things. We're going to jump right in here. So, reverse dieting really is exactly what it says, right? It's basically backing out of a diet, and there's a technique. And I'm really glad that it's coming to light because I think the diet industry as a whole has done a disservice to people because we've always had diet plans and something to follow, something restrictive, something where you take away something. And yes, it's a lot of the times resulted in weight loss, but one of the things that they never talk about is how to get out of that diet phase, whatever program or plan you're following, and how to go back to like living a normal life. And that's one of the reasons why I struggle with those kinds of programs or plans that have these a bunch of rules to follow, because it doesn't necessarily teach you how to eat your own way, your own style, or how to fit nutrition into your life and your needs. And so basically, I love that it's getting attention. And you know who's really, really good at reverse dieting? It's actually going to be bodybuilders and bikini models or whatever. And I'm not saying that lifestyle is healthy or the best way to go necessarily, because there can be some disordered eating and some problems with that. But I am saying that they know how to do what we can call nutritional periodization. They know how to go through periods of fueling their body properly, eating enough calories to build muscle and get massive and huge. And then they know how to lean out for their competition. And believe me, I think there's like a phrase, like they call themselves like a walking, like a, I don't know, it's like a walking skeleton. There's some kind of phrase they use on the day of competition because they're so dehydrated and starving when they get on stage, that it's like they're barely alive almost in a way, because that's how much they dehydrate themselves to show and reveal all the cuts of their muscle and physique. So even though that can be an extreme lifestyle, that's usually their job. So they're going to be obviously very focused and dialed in with their nutrition. But you can do nutritional periodization for the regular folks. In fact, that's what we do with our clients, right? We kind of figure out where are you at, where are your inconsistencies? Are you severely under eating? Are you severely overeating? How do we bring your body back to homeostasis and get you kind of balanced and ready to lose the extra 10 to 20 pounds or more that you've been struggling to get off of your body? A lot of the times, the problem with diets, protocols in particular, especially when it comes to caloric restriction, is that your body can adapt to those situations. So your body is so intelligent and smart. It basically, it's going to try to survive, right? So when you're in a calorie deficit for a long period of time, at some point your body is going to say, okay, I better not lose any more fat because I don't know when we're going to get fed again, or I'm not feeling fully nourished. And it kind of holds on to that fat in some ways. So at some point, we've obviously overeaten enough to gain weight. We've had too much calories. And then what I've seen on a regular basis is people coming in with a lot of inconsistencies. They're always chasing a diet. I even had an epiphany that I feel like I've been chasing a diet for a while and need to just kind of hang around in maintenance for a little bit. So the idea is that, yes, we know that we need to be in a calorie deficit for losing weight, but how do we get out of that? And where does reverse dieting come into play? And literally, there's two ways to go about it. You can either just do it all at once, or you can do it slowly. And it's different for everybody, because what we find is that a lot of our clients struggle when you actually start to be intentional about eating nutrient dense foods and whole foods, it's actually really hard to eat enough calories. You start tracking everything. And first off, you're becoming more conscious of what you're eating when you start to track. But you start to eat like salads and fruits and healthy fats and protein and all of that stuff. And all of a sudden you realize, woof, I'm feeling full very quickly, because you're not eating these, like processed foods or foods that have a lot of high calories in them that are super easy to overeat. If you're eating a bunch of pizza, burgers, fries, and a beer, it's super easy to overconsume food. But if you're actually eating like steak and chicken and salads and broccoli and raspberries and yogurt and all this, stuff that comes from nature or stuff that you cook yourself, you'll find that your body has to adapt a little bit. So sometimes people do eat a few meals throughout the day, just because it's a little bit easier to start training their body to accept that food. Again, those hunger signals are really, really important. And you'd be surprised that for a couple of weeks, it's probably more challenging to eat more food, but you get used to it and you get better at it. And you start to kind of wake up those, like, change those cortisol levels in your body, and those hunger signals come back and your hormones kind of balance out again. And you'll find it's easier. And I can be a testimony to this because I was in a deficit for a couple of months and then worked my way back up into maintenance. And at first I just kind of felt full, felt like I was kind of stuffing myself a little bit, or it was just hard to keep up with my calories. And then at some point there was a flip, and it happened where I was waking up super hungry, needing food more throughout the day, because I finally had revved up my metabolism again to accept that food and kind of get back to that homeostasis. So a lot of the times what we'll find is clients are severely undereating. So we're just going to pretend it's an undereating situation. So how would you go about getting out of a diet? Well, first off, you've got to track to see where you're at right now. You have to have some kind of idea of how much you're consuming to see, are you severely under? How much are you severely under? And use that as your starting point. You could technically say reverse overeating by seeing how much you're overeating and what your maintenance calories actually should be. But we're just going to take it from the perspective of somebody who's always been chasing a diet, or is on a diet, then not on a diet, or just severely undereating on a regular basis, or fasting a lot. So you would take your total daily expenditure, and one of the calculators that we really like is the Precision Nutrition Calculator. And for Precision Nutrition Calculator, I would select improve health as opposed to build muscle or lose weight as your goals, and go through the process with your age, height, weight, activity levels, kind of be really honest with your answers and see what your maintenance calories are calculated to be. Now, it's still a calculator. You're a person, you're a human. There's going to take some trial and error to figure out, like, hey, what do you need? Like, where is your true maintenance calories? You don't really know that until you try that. But basically, see where you're at, track where you're at now, do your calculation to see how much you should be going up to. And then you're going to slowly build from there, probably increasing maybe like 100, 150 calories a week or so. And when you're tracking it, you're going to start to see, like, how consistent are you? How inconsistent are you? Where do you need to improve upon? Most of the time, protein intake is the number one thing that people need to improve upon, and you build slowly from there. The challenge with reverse dieting for a lot of people, because a lot of people need to do it, is that it slows down the process of fat loss. And I think that's the hardest part, is being patient with reverse dieting. Now, when we're reverse dieting, we're not necessarily stopping our workouts, we're not stopping our movement, we're not stopping hydration, we're not stopping all of the other things that we prioritize. So know that you're getting movement and hopefully some resistance training in your regular regimen too, that's going to play in your favor for building muscle tissue. But the challenge is that it's really hard, because you do have to slow down the process, because most of us wanted to lose the 20 pounds like yesterday, and reverse dieting is going to slow down that method. So that's one reason why we like to work with clients for a year minimum. We'll definitely do like 6 months minimum, but we like to do a year, because sometimes that metabolic restoration takes a little while to get good at and get consistent with, and it takes a little while to give your body a break. I mean, it's really doing a disservice to you to put you in a fat loss phase too soon, too quickly, if you don't stay out of a dieting phase for a period of time. Like, we technically like to see 6 months of no dieting, kind of minimum, to make sure your biomarkers are good, like your hunger, energy, craving, sleep is all aligned, and you've been consistent with your protein intake and your calories. Because one thing when you go into a calorie deficit that shouldn't change is how much protein you're eating. When you're increasing calories and going through a building phase, sometimes you can decrease protein a little bit because you're using your carb sources as a way to build your tissue. But ultimately, protein doesn't change. So if we can make sure we're consistent with protein, pretty consistent with our caloric consumption, get that body fueled properly, get our resistance training in, our walking, our hydration, our sleep, then we're preparing your body for a fat loss phase and to handle the stress. Because if you think about it, putting you in a deficit is going to stress you out. So we like to make sure we've got, everyone's calorie deficit lasts a different period of time. Some people, it just takes longer than other people, depending on how much damage has been done or just how your body responds. Of course, we wish it was an overnight process, but usually in a dieting phase, you can expect to lose a half a pound to 2 pounds a week max on a regular basis. And then when you're in a building phase, usually you can see about 1, maybe 2 pounds of muscle a month being built. So you can see how weight loss is going to be faster than building. Building takes a long time. And I think what we're missing when it comes to nutrition plans and dieting and exercise is we're always chasing that deficit and we're never giving our body a break. And I think that's what I love about reverse dieting getting more attention, is that more stuff is coming out about how we should probably be living in maintenance calories more often. And obviously, as you lose weight, your maintenance calories are going to change too, because obviously it's based on your size, height, age, activity levels. And when you lose weight, your maintenance calories are going to change as well. So as far as like how fast or slow do you go? I mean, it's really up to you. It's different for everybody, because some people need a little, like, they need to warm up to it a little bit. They need to take some practice, and it's going to take, you're not used to it. If you're not tracking and keeping, tabs on all of this stuff, you're not used to how much you're eating. You're going to see like, wow, it's crazy how much calories I should be eating to hold on to weight. And you would think, well, why have I not lost a bunch of weight now? If I'm eating 500 calories under my maintenance, why haven't I been losing weight? It's because your body's adapted to it. It's adjusting to that stressor, and you need to give it a break from that stressor. And that's why reverse dieting is so important. So if you're somebody who has been chasing a deficit or eating in a diet or something like that, and you've plateaued, that's when it's really time to consider, hey, we need to take a little break for a bit, give your body this, homeostasis kind of thing, get it back to its happy place and get you ready for a fat loss phase again. And a lot of the times too, if you're struggling to lose that last like 15 to 10 pounds, you're so close to your goal, that might be where the focus needs to shift to body composition and eating at maintenance, lifting weights, getting your walking in, and not chasing that diet all of the time, because the magic happens when you're actually out of the diet. The diet is going to reveal what you've built under your body. So if you think about it, if you take like fall time all the way to springtime and are in maintenance calories, resistance training, getting your steps in, hydration and all of that, and then you go into springtime to kind of lean out and do your calorie deficit for the summertime, which is normal kind of nutritional periodization, just following the seasons of the year, you can see as you lean out, it's going to reveal the muscle that you've built on your body. And that's why, this is exactly what we do with our clients, is we figure out, where are you at now? How do we get your body back to homeostasis in its happy place? Do we need to reverse diet, or do we need to do the opposite? Because some people it's overconsumption. And then getting you into maintenance calories for a period of time, watching that, monitoring that, tracking your mood, energy, cravings, sleep, and all of that, and then getting you ready for a fat loss phase. And a lot of the times the fat loss phase is probably about 12 weeks. We like to do 12 weeks before we take a break. And then we'll kind of determine what that looks like after that first phase has been completed, and kind of live in some maintenance for a period of time. So I guess my recommendation, it's going to be a little bit, my recommendation for tomorrow, as we're entering into 2023 and kind of like getting through the holidays and having fun, now we get back into focusing in 2023. Hopefully it's just a continuation of what you've already been doing. And we'll kind of talk about where can you start, right now for 2023 goals. Like, I don't like to have, resolutions have such a high fail rate that we're not talking about resolutions, but we're talking about, what steps can you do to kind of start this on your own. But that's really what reverse dieting is. It's slowly getting out of a diet. It's going and increasing your calories 100 or 150 a week, or you can do it all at once. It's totally up to you. On average, a person who is like even 4'10", like let's just say like, 4'10" in height, their maintenance calories are going to be around 18 to 1900 calories. And if you think about it, there's so many diets and plans out there that have you way below that, no matter what height you are. And that's why I don't like blanket suggestions of here's 800 calories, here's 1000 calories, here's 1200, it's what's meant for you and your life and your body. And me as a 5'9" adult right now, where I'm at, like my maintenance calories is around 23 to 2500. So that's where the shock probably is going to be for you to see, like, what is my maintenance calories? What are they really supposed to be? And just know too that it's still a calculation, it's still a computer. And so when you're building your calories, there is going to be some little bit of weight gain. If you're increasing your carbs, which is mostly what you'd be doing, if your protein targets are being met, you're going to have some water weight and some fluctuations. So that's another thing we have to expect expect with reverse dieting is potentially a little bit of weight gain. Now, the whole goal is to get you to a point where you plateau a little bit on your weight gain, that it slows down. We just have to prepare for that and expect a little fluctuation. And that's when we basically say, let's not really look at the scale too often. Maybe every other week, maybe once a month. There's just a point where we kind of have to take the scale out of the picture for a little bit and keep up with your training regimen and walking and building from there. I had another thought too, and it escaped me. I apologize. But that's the direction that I would go. We want to build slowly. And, again, your stomach is going to take some adjusting. It's going to take some time, but it's going to be worth it. And it's definitely recommended when you've plateaued in your fitness journey. And of course, obviously a coach is going to help you coach is going to help you kind of get there and guide that roadmap for you. So obviously, of course, I'm planting the seed for the last opportunity to get 2022 pricing for one-on-one coaching. Obviously, I want to make sure that you guys know that that's an option. So let me know. You can reach out to me if you have any further questions. Let me just double check my notes. Yeah, so I think that's good. I would love to hear you guys' feedback. I will obviously, if you have any additional questions or thoughts or whatever, just let me know. We'll definitely talk about flexible dieting as another option. It's not to add more confusion, but literally, there's just nutritional periodization, I think, is something that's missing. And that's why I'm so glad that this is getting some attention. So I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this. I hope you learned something new. It hopefully makes it simple and easy to understand. And I appreciate everyone who's participated and given us some love this year in 2022. So if I don't see you before then, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and I'm signing off.